And welcome everybody to Fabio and Funk 2024, the World Formula One Championship. We're all races covered here, all 24, maybe 23. We don't know exactly, do we? Depends what happens in Italy and the weather. Speaking of the weather in Italy, has it been raining, Fabio?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
It's been raining in Italy, everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a shout back to Imola, of course. Hopefully, we'll get to race at Imola this year because we missed it. I missed it anyway. I missed it
Yeah.
terribly.
Yeah,
I'm also
Emma.
joined, as
Yeah.
always, by my fantastic, not an expert, Lucky Wolfin7. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. I am excellent. Happy to be back, seeing you both.
Yes, it is good to see you as well. Of course, this means that we're going to be inundated by a whole. Oh, hello, Sandy. Hello, Sandy. Let me put you up there. Zoom. Thank you. I think you captured Formula One quite accurately there, Sandy. Yeah, we're going to be back in covering a multitude of races. 24 races for the year 2024. How appropriate. So most weekends instead of not most weekends, I guess. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I think this is too many races even for an ardent fan like me. But nonetheless, we shall see how it goes. I'd also like to welcome everybody who isn't watching on Kick right now. Welcome everybody who isn't watching on Kick. It's a new thing we're doing this year, mainly because, as you can see, or not see, as the case may be right now, Kick is sponsoring a Formula One team, and as a homage, we are on Kick now. So there we go. That's
kicking.
that. And go ahead.
We're kicking.
We are. We're alive and kicking, which is amazing. Who'd have thunk it?
I have a sorry because you mentioned there are so many races. I have a thing that I can send it to you.
Did you say I mentioned so many racists or races?
No, races.
I still didn't understand. Okay.
Well, I mean, you're a big racist because you follow racist. You know.
I see.
Yeah.
I get you. Mike Crack agrees with you.
Yes. So I got a thing that we might find a way to put probably I don't know in the we'll find a way which I think it might be useful. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
There you go. If you can share it with me.
Is that a list of all the races coming up?
Yes.
Okay,
so...
we can get to that in a moment if we can. But first, we need to go through the introduction. I haven't quite finished it because, of course, I think now this big confusion over racism is going to have to be addressed, I'm afraid, now. So I think we're going to do a short English lesson first.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. So I have a phrase I'd like you both to repeat just to improve the English skills. Especially you, Lucky, because you're from... What part of the world are you from, Lucky?
I'm from Scotland land.
Scotland land. There we go, you see. So everybody needs to improve their English. It's quite clear. So the phrase is basically a tongue twister. But if you could just repeat this after me. The drain in Bahrain is mainly a pain. After me.
The drain in Bahrain is mainly a pain.
Again, the drain in Bahrain is mainly a pain.
The drain in Bahrain is mainly a pain.
Jolly good. And the drain in Bahrain is mainly a pain, especially for Ferrari. Okay, so that takes us into testing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Look, I didn't say the quality of the jokes were going to be up to the usual standard or any standard, in fact.
It was a joke, was it? That was a joke.
There was a
All
That
joke
right.
was a
there.
joke.
There was a
Yeah.
joke somewhere there. I don't know. Yeah.
Of course, we had train problems in Bahrain.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's the problem. We will talk about the schedule a little later, as I'd like to do. So, but let's just whack through testing first, if we may. Testing in Bahrain, we thought it was going to be an easy ride. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Sorry, Simos. Your mic is cutting out. It seems to
Okay,
be it's away from the mouth or something. So
okay, let me just test it a second. The drain in Bahrain is mainly a pain.
yes, yeah, it's
Yes,
working now.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, jolly good, jolly good.
Yeah.
If I have to repeat that joke several more times in this show, you won't be surprised, okay? Because it's the only one I've got. Okay, right. So, yeah, so on to testing. We were in Bahrain, of course, ready for the race next week. Next weekend, I should say. And,
This weekend. This weekend.
Yeah.
yeah, this weekend, yeah. Okay, this weekend is more accurate, correct, yes. Well done, Lucky. Points for your English there.
I'll keep you right.
A plus, sir. A plus. Come and see the
Thank you, thank
teacher
you.
with an apple after the show.
With
Okay,
an apple, did you say?
with an apple, yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's a biblical reference. Okay, so nonetheless, we were at Bahrain. Day one testing. As always, quite an amazing thing happened. You can usually tell, of course, who the second drivers in the team are, because the second driver normally goes out first. Surprise, surprise. And of course, this was astounded. Max Verstappen from Red Bull did the entire day one, and absolutely killed it. He had one dodgy lap, the first lap out, and the rest of it, he was amazing. So it was very much like I've already forgotten what I was going to do for this show. I was going to go through last year, but it was very much like last year. Max came, he saw, he conquered. Yeah. I don't know what that is in Italian.
I don't know. I can tell you in Latin.
Oh, Latin would be better. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Latin is veni, vidi, vici.
Yes. I think I made a joke about it somewhere, didn't I?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I would be
Yeah.
surprised if you
Okay.
didn't.
It was something like I came, I saw. No,
Yeah.
I came, I saw, I came.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is
I
similar.
I would have been surprised if you didn't make a joke. So yeah.
There we go. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Appreciate that.
It's okay.
Okay. So, yeah, basically that's my review of the test session. Max Verstappen came, he saw, he dominated, and everybody else had second place. There might be some nuance there, which I'm not quite getting, but that's my race review. So, my testing review, I should say. So, over to you, Fabio, for your testing review, if you please.
I must admit I haven't really watched the test so
Well, thank you so
thoroughly.
much. Over
Yeah.
to you, Lucky.
Yeah.
For your testing review.
No,
No,
I mean-
go ahead. Sorry.
Well,
No. I mean, I just saw bits and pieces that the problem with tests, and we had an off-air conversation some time ago. The problem with tests is that it's like the free practices. You never really know how much fuel they're on. Well, the tires because they just tell you the tires. But that's pretty much it. Especially this year. I mean, the car, they're quite new for some teams. That substantially new. So. For example, one of the things we talked about, one of the things they used to do in tests is that they have to find out, when is the car performing better, from the aero point of view and the downforce point of view. So, for example, one of the things they do is that they go out with a height of 10 millimeters. And then they stop, they go down to 9, they go down to 8 and 7 and 6, up until, the car is bottoming down and, then they get data. But, this is just to say that even if you knew the tires, and even if you had a hunch of how much fuel there is, you don't know if they're actually testing the performance of the car or they're testing some weird aspects of the car. So it's very, very, very difficult to figure out what's happening.
Very true. Yeah. So your conclusions at the end of it? Not conclude.
I
I
mean,
shouldn't say conclusions. Anything?
well,
Any highlights for you apart
well, I
from the
mean,
amazing drain work?
well, I mean, the Red Bull, as expected, it seemed to be performing quite well. Is the car which has been, it hasn't gone through massive changes compared to other cars.
Okay.
So that was, I would say, expected, but you could expect that. I mean, Williams was surprising. I mean, it wasn't the same trajectory as last year in terms of improvement. The Aston, I think, I mean, they put up a really a fairly radical car, and again, it's the same thing we told before. You never know what really tested. Ferrari, I mean, it was fairly good, judging from what the drivers said and all the stuff. They were quite happy with the car. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about Mercedes, to be fair, if they were happy or not, because it's really difficult to figure out what the fuck they're saying in Mercedes. And yeah, I mean, those were the main one,
I actually have a quote from one of the backstage people at Mercedes. It went something like this. Let me just see here. Who's a good boy then? Oh, give me more meat. Give me more meat. And that was, of course, from Lewis Hamilton's dog.
Okay.
Okay. Over to you, Lucky. Oh, by the way, when you say pretty much the same for Red Bull, of course you mean in result. They've changed their car quite a lot, of course, dramatically, as the press would say.
I mean, I'm not really sure about that, but yeah.
Okay. No problem. Over to you, Lucky. How was your? Did you see testing? And if so, what was your highlights?
Well, I saw the highlights of testing, but
Okay, what was your highlights of the highlights?
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's, as Fabio says, that we can gather much from what happened. I mean, let's take a look at the top sort of 5 to 10 times. We've got Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Gagnon, Perez, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Albon, Piastri, and Lewis Hamilton. That's a bit of a mix and match, isn't it? It's not what we'd be expecting in the way of results. Ferrari in top, Red Bull languishing down sort of 7th and 8th. The big question, I think, on everybody's lips is how much sandbagging is Red Bull actually doing? I mean, the rumors around are abound on the internet that you can add another 10% performance onto what we've seen from Red Bull so far. Whether that's going to be the case or not, I don't know. But I think they might have been holding back on some sort of lower down the scale engine mode just to keep things from getting too out of hand. Because I'm sure that Adrian Newey hasn't been sitting on his hands over the winter. And as you know, and probably heard, there's been some strange sort of ironic twists with Mercedes no side pod design, going back to a side pod design, and Red Bull removing side pods, going for a no side pod design. So I don't know. It's been a very strange situation.
Yes, I think building in the capability to do zero side pod, presumably for the tracks like Monza, and whether we'll see that or not this year would be quite amazing. A couple of other little technical designs, as I say there, but What I heard was somebody doing the stats and saying that possibly Red Bull were carrying 85 kilos of fuel when doing their fastest times.
Right, okay.
In which case that would be astounding, because that's probably a good half a second faster than that they can go again over any of the other teams, which allegedly were carrying around 30 kilos. 100 kilos is, of course, race distance. So 85 kilos is,
That's
if
good.
that's to be believed, that's just astounding.
Mhm.
Absolutely astounding.
But
Yeah, okay, so just on to a few technical things then, I guess.
Mhm.
The Red Bull, as you're saying, they came with allegedly some new cooling systems, which
Some
I thought
extra
one in
ducts.
particular was particularly innovative. Go ahead, Lucky.
Yeah, they've got some funny ducts springing up behind the halo for a start, and then
Yeah, those are the ones. Yeah.
front of the of what's left of the side pods, there seems
Mm,
to be a duct either side there as well that
that's right.
has been uh,
And
bringing
as we know, if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duct, it's probably a duct.
it will be a duct. He doesn't have holes there for no reason, I wouldn't imagine.
Right. I'm going to laugh at that little joke for a little while. Fabio, fill in for me.
No, no, I'm not. I mean, I just leave you in your misery, you know.
It looks like a duck.
I mean, it has to be said that that solution. We saw that solution on some other cars. I mean, Ferrari came with something like that too. So Red Bull. I mean, when I said before, I meant that the things that I saw in Red Bull were more like refinement of a platform, not something I mean, some of the cars that were way more into that. They really went in different direction compared to the last year. So that's what I meant. I'm not saying that they didn't do anything to the car. Of course, I mean they modified the. There is something interesting that they did at the back of the car, where just over the diffuser and on the on the bottom of the car, uh, just like with the rear tires are, it seems to be there is another hole to to avoid bumping and all that stuff, so the air can get out of there. So yeah, I mean there was some interesting stuff, but I wasn't blown away by the amount of things that they put in the car. Even the things they called the bazookas. The thing that Mercedes had at the beginning. Yeah, but we see that many teams went that way, so it's not really something that they came up and nobody did. Like what happened last year with the shape of the intakes on the side pods. That was quite different from any other car. So there wasn't something which was wow, which, for example, in Ferrari, they did something really different at the front, and especially in the, I think it's called the B area or stuff like that. I can't remember exactly, but it has a name, and it's the area between the front wheels and the beginning of the bottom of the car. Just like where the steering wheel is. Like that area. It's where the air starts diverging and getting into the floor. So
Right,
they
the
did something.
Y250, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Stuff. Yeah. I think it's that's the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've left a little more of a gap underneath, haven't they? Where they've attached the front nose to the second layer of the front wing.
Yeah, they also changed the position of the intrusion, anti-intrusion pods and stuff like that, in order to have
Oh, okay.
that area a little bit more clean. So, I mean, they did something you could see it's different, which it's harder to see in the Red Bull. That's what I meant, by refining.
Yeah, and Leclerc did say, I think it actually, I don't think it was Leclerc. It was one of maybe the team boss, Vasseur, said something like they've managed to address some of the issues with tyre wear that so cursed them last year, and so hopefully the race pace is going to be a lot better, at least over the length of a stint. In which case, that is going to be a major step forward.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why during the test they used I think they used the C4 tire, like a very soft tire, which will not be in Bahrain for the races. I think one of the reasons why they want to use a very soft tire to see, how much they were actually using the tires. So that might be something. But again, it's so difficult to see what they do in tests. I mean, why they do some things in tests. So
yeah, Lucky.
Well, what can I say? The other thing that was apparently possibly problematic was the front wing on the Mercedes. It has some sort of mounting that's controversial, although apparently FIA approved. Did you hear about that?
yeah. So basically, the rules said that all the planes on the front wing, they must be connected to the nose.
Yeah.
And in Mercedes, they had the third plane of the front wing. I mean, just like 3 planes, okay. And the last one is connected with something like a wire, stuff like that, which makes nothing basically, but it's connected. And what the reason why people just said, okay, that is that is wrong, that is against the rule, is that by connecting just with the wire, basically the last plane is flexing the way it did before. So there was some controversy about that, but I don't know.
So basically, what's happening is as the car goes faster, the wing is flattening out and causing less drag and letting it go faster. Okay, I'm with you. Well,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Apparently Mercedes have done this with full approval by the FIA. So I'm not sure if this is a rule that's going to stay or get changed or what. I don't know. But there does seem to be some talk of it not being within the spirit of the rules.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens because I think the results. There is a rule for the rear wing. I'm not sure about the front wing. That they put weight on the front wing and see how much it flexes. So if it's within the parameters, it's okay. So I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it didn't seem to gain them an awful lot, to be fair.
No. Yeah.
One thing I noticed is they didn't have enough downforce on the front wing. Almost the opposite to last year, right? So they seem to be, like a lot of understeer basically through a lot of the test. Their times weren't too bad, but obviously nowhere near Red Bulls. And if they were sandbagging as well, allegedly all of the top teams were sandbagging to some degree. I don't think Max was on that first day because he set that time, relatively early in the day. So, and it's unlike Max to go, yeah, all right, I'll sandbag. No, he just wants to go flat out all the time. So I don't think he was sandbagging to the same degree that they were through the rest of the time. One thing that did amaze me was that Max didn't come out on the last day and put in a blistering time to go first. So yeah, that's a bit different to how I was expecting it. Max normally, just sees the time and goes, "No, I've got to have the fastest time, regardless," doesn't he? So something's going on there. He was told, presumably by Helmut, that this was, the right thing to do. I think we might have a quote there. What do you think this is? Poland, Max? Okay, so that one fell flat. Never mind. Sorry, another famous Austrian. I got Helmut confused with another famous Austrian.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Okay, so now onwards to the.
A famous Austrian. It wasn't Nicky Lauda.
Sorry, onwards to just quickly to do the Mercedes. Mercedes adjustable front suspension. Did anybody see that one coming?
Well,
I saw some pictures and I saw, that it's, controversial, new suspension. But I mean, I haven't looked into that a lot, to be totally fair. So I'm not really sure what they did or what they didn't.
And
So
they
maybe.
basically have a different.
I think it's only adjustable.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I think it's only adjustable in that you can mount it in like 3 different places. It's not like infinitely adjustable or anything like that. You can pull a bolt out, you can turn it, put the bolt back in, and that's how it can be done. But I don't think it's like adjustable as
well, adjustable in the Formula One sense. You can have a more extreme amount of anti-dive dial into your system, and you're right. I think there are only 3 positions, presumably. So I think that's quite exciting for this year. Some of Mercedes' problems should disappear through that very innovative use of the rules. Nobody else has done it. Although I did notice in one of the shots that the front suspension of the Red Bull is also adjustable. Some guy had a socket which he put inside the front wishbone, right, and was adjusting the tension of the wishbone. So I don't know. That's
tension of the wishbone. No, it might be anti-roll bar tension.
Yeah, the roll bar. I beg your pardon, the roll bar. Yeah. So they were stiffening up the roll bar basically. So I thought that was quite interesting in a unique way as well. You could see the roll bar was in sections, so they can also alter the length of it, presumably, slightly. Which is just, again, everybody's been talking about that suspension, and it was very obvious that the Red Bull suspension was far and away the best suspension again on the circuit this year. So this is why I think, Fabio, that you're absolutely right. More of the same.
Yeah.
Simply because nobody's caught up with that suspension. I'm hoping that maybe. The way Mercedes have changed this year to the Red Bull suspension is going to give some results, at least make it a bit closer.
Well, that is really, I mean, that is a tough one because, like, for example, talking about suspensions, Ferrari kept the I think it's the same suspension at the rear that they had last year, and the reason they did that, according to them, is that they had way more data on how the suspension works that way, and they were able to refine it in such a way that they didn't see the need to change the way that it works, from push rod to pull rod or vice versa. And I mean, that is saying something. I mean, you have something that it took you a year, you know how it works, you know what the limits are. It's not a given that changing something is going to be automatically better or worse, just because the fastest car has got that kind of geometry and that kind of it's implemented in that way, So
set up. Yeah. Could you quantify that? Do you think? What kind of advantage that's giving them? Quantify, or maybe even.
So
can you put it in a Venn diagram?
Yeah. Well, I'm not an expert on Venn diagram. I mean, there used to be a guy, but we don't know what the fuck he is now. Luckily enough, but yeah, I don't. I mean, the theoretical advantages of having push rod instead of a pull rod at the rear is that you can have a cleaner back. So the rod, which is the suspension, is not in the way of the air, which is to be extracted by the side pods and behind the wheels. But again, it's yeah, that's a oversimplification of the thing, because there are many ways you can put the same suspension, that you can design the same kind of suspension. So Ferrari decided to go with something that they knew it worked. They had data on that. Mercedes changed it, on the front, because they probably thought that they get to a limit. They couldn't get it much farther than that. They said, well, this one is, it's proven to be better. I mean, everybody's got their own data. Well, we got to see if it's the same one on the track and the one on the simulations. So we'll see.
Lucky, anything to add there?
A couple of other changes apparently made by Mercedes this year were to reposition Mr. Hamilton back to his preferred position in the car, which is 100 millimeters further forward. And this is supposed to give him a better feel
Further
for the
back.
car.
Yeah,
Back.
further back. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Somewhere in the car he's moved to. And this is
Yeah,
something he
moved him back
complained
10
about
centimeters. You're right. Yeah.
Right, yeah. He complained about all last year, but was ignored. But have
Oh
now-
yeah, that's because Hamilton has complained about the car for 2 years in a row, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to go in Ferrari for next year.
We haven't. We spilt the beans. Are we allowed to say that on air?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Talking about
No, the reason why he was so forward was because of the shape of the car. The no side pods basically had there was a very nice drawing. So if you don't have side pods, the radiators they go inside the car, and by going inside the car, you got to move the tank. So the tank has got to be longer because the tank is narrower. If you get what I mean, So the radiator are in there, so you got a longer tank, and that's why it was forward. With this car, they get back to a more conventional thing. The radiator are in a more horizontal position. They're not that attached to the chassis, so the tank is more similar to the other one, and they were able to move the guy on the back. But
apparently they had a very high fuel tank last year, which was basically up around the back of Hamilton's head. And they've now ditched that in favor of something that drops the center of gravity obviously down a bit further, because that seemed like a very strange idea, having a fuel tank up that high.
Yeah.
Well, they had to, because they had the radiator where the fuel tank is supposed to be going.
Yeah.
So they had to move the fuel tank, and they had to change the shape.
I mean, the idea is
why
the idea is a
would
good
explain-
one, isn't it? The idea is a good one in that reducing the drag of the side pods should give it a higher top speed. Remember, drag is a square function, isn't it? So that's quite a high exponential when you get to 320.
One of the fundamental things you'll list, if you list the fundamental things about a car, is center of gravity. You need to have the center of gravity as low as possible, and that fuel tank just wasn't doing it for the Mercedes over the past couple of years. And you'll notice that the race pace always got better on empty tanks, because the center of gravity was going down as the fuel went down.
Yeah, absolutely. They were stronger at the end and had better tyre preservation towards the end of stints as well, than a lot of the teams did. That's true. I think the Mercedes this year looks pretty solid. Just the handling problems looked quite bad. The front end looked bad on it. So I think we may see a change there come some of the races, especially the high downforce races, where they swap in a new wing.
They seem to be quite pleased with it, to the point that they were talking about being able to put in extra anti-dive with their adjustable, quote unquote, front suspension. So I don't know. Is that more sandbagging?
Well,
No,
I
I think
mean,
that's
I
good.
hope that the car is solid because the team is getting way less solid, by the minute.
Well, that's another story.
True. Still, not as as loose. If were parodying the word solid here, not as loose as Red Bull.
Oh yeah,
This
Red Bull is
week,
another one which is going through something really weird.
hmm
Are
should
we
we
going
just
to
talk
talk about
about
that?
Christian Horner for a moment?
Yeah.
He's had some allegations, of course. But we're going to find out this week. I had hoped we'd put the show back far enough that we might have heard what was going on, but allegedly it's this week that the decision is being made. Several people of their sponsors, mainly Ford, have said they want a quick resolution to this, and of course we've had anything but a quick resolution. So, yeah, Christian Horner apparently being a naughty boy in the workplace. Do we believe this, or do we just think this is made up in
It's
order by the
no, it's
detractors?
it's not made up. Something happened. The thing is that that is not the reason why that thing is popping up. The main reason is there is a big power struggle in Red Bull right now. I'll keep it super brief between Helmut Marko and Christian Horner. That started with when what was the name, Markiewicz, the owner of Red Bull died last year.
Yeah, Dietrich.
That yeah, so it started then, and both Marco and I got to say, especially owner, tried to push himself, into the team. He made some crucial decisions about Ricciardo last year, which right now, I mean, at the moment, nobody, really cared about it. I mean, nobody really paid attention. But I think this is one of the reasons why this has happened. There is a massive power struggle in the team, and I would say that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
There is
apparently,
also
Before you go,
there,
Lucky, go
there
ahead.
is also, sorry, one last thing. It's not only Christian Horner which is a problematic in the team. Vash or Vache, I don't know how it's pronounced, is rumored to go in Ferrari. That is basically the right arm of Adrian Newey. So that's another thing which is rumored to be happen. And remember, with the rumors in F1, they don't pop up out of nothing. There is something.
Right.
So yeah.
I likened it to with the Christian Horner and Helmut Marko. I kind of likened it to Hitler and Stalin. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, Horner's Stalin. He may be a little bit authoritarian within the team, but Helmut Marko is Hitler. He's very dominating and wants all the territory. So this is the analogy that I'm bringing today to this particular thing.
Okay.
Over to you, Lucky.
okay. Well, apparently there's more to this. The two major shareholders of Red Bull, the company itself, are Dietrich's son and some Malaysian guy. Now, apparently,
Right, yeah.
Dietrich's son is in favor of Horner, and the Malaysian guy is
No, other way
not
around.
in favor. Yeah, he's not in favor of Horner, and this seems to be something that might affect the outcome of what
Yeah.
goes on
So
as well.
the Thai cooperative owned 51% of Red Bull team,
Right.
and Red Bull owned 49%, of course. So the Thai team have the persuading kind of vote in this, and they support Horner allegedly at the moment. But of course, if there is
So
too
it's
much
another way
damage
about.
to the brand, then that may change, and
Yeah.
that's why it's been a public war and not a private war,
Yes.
because they're trying to put pressure on the Thai.
Ford stepped into the thing. I don't know if it's this week or last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ford, the Ford Motor Company,
Twice
which
they've stepped in now. Yeah,
what?
twice they've stepped in
Yeah, but they stepped in,
again. Like
recently. Yeah.
Friday or
And
something.
and
Yeah.
and the reason why it's important is that Ford is going to be the company which is going to provide the batteries for the 2026 car, So and they stepped in, they basically said they want the thing resolved because they can't be connected to these things and blah 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 blah. And the scary thing is that apparently there is a clause in the contract that they can walk away in cases like that. And just the fact that they mention is, some people is really, being a little bit super uncomfortable. So yeah.
Absolutely, they've been asked to speed up the process
Yeah.
and do due diligence as long as it's just and fair. Get rid of order. But anyway, that's reading between the lines.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So we've covered most of the little tittle tattles. Some other teams have been doing quite well. McLaren not so. It seems they're struggling to get their car under control. Whether that will last, we don't know. Another team that's been doing well, surprisingly, is of course the Mastercard Visa, HSBC, Barclays, Midland, RB, Cash App, and OnlyFans car. I think that's what it's called. I'm not certain, but I think that might be the name of it. And that is, of course, the second Red Bull team.
Yeah.
So they did surprisingly well. Did you think, Lucky?
Well, what have they got? They've got last year's Red Bull, basically, haven't they?
Not quite, but
yeah. Well, I mean, they learned what the Tracing Point did, with Mercedes, and they did the same thing with last year Red Bull. I mean, they are within the rules, but they took all they could get from last year's car. I mean, and again, Racing Point did the same with Mercedes, so yeah, not surprised.
Yeah, and basically, of course, the main thing is that they've got the suspension front and rear from last year's Red Bull. So that alone is going to be a huge help to them. And then secondly, of course, Fabio's going off the edge of the. Oh no, he's not. That's okay. Right. But that's.
That's
Sorry,
3 times he's done that since the show started. Actually,
I know. I've been worried every time it gets me. Anyway, so they've bought as many parts as they can, which turns out to be quite a lot of the car from last year, and the rest they've probably just redeveloped, shall we say, into a legal part in order to copy Newey's superb design from last year. Funnily enough, the good sign is they weren't second place. I think that's a good sign because it means the other cars have moved on and probably would be beating last year's Red Bull. But of course, Red Bull have moved on as well. So I think that's quite a good sign for the future season.
So last thing about the teams, and that I want to mention is that this year we are going to miss team principal, which has been the joy. Gunther Steiner, is not anymore in us. Yeah, that's a big loss. I mean, for the show itself, was.
I mean, how many times would we have got demonetized?
Yeah, I know. Steiner. But yeah, I think it was. Well, it came as a surprise, but I think that the guy was already, he didn't want to do that anymore. But anyway.
Yeah, you can only be in the back team for so long before you go, okay, look, come on now.
Yeah, fuck it.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. And of course, he did have to put up with Mazepin for that length of time, which is more than any man could be asked to do.
That's right. Yeah. Not the first time that somebody's bought their way into Formula One, Stroll, and done not such a stellar job. Although I will say I've been a supporter of Lance for various reasons. I respect anybody that can run a car on maple syrup. So there we go.
Well, he was going to
Okay,
play tennis this year.
say again.
I thought he was going to go and play tennis this year.
Yeah, that was the rumor. Turned out to be a rumor.
Yeah.
So what can we say there? I guess.
That's the most disappointing thing
Yeah.
I've heard.
New balls, please. I think he found some, and he's gone back into Formula One again.
Well, let's hope he has found some. Yes.
Boom, boom.
Anyway, we are 45 minutes in.
Yes, we are 45 minutes in. Okay, so we're going to go through. There's one other team that I feel we may mention. Kick, the Sauber team.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on Kick, by the way, everybody. I noticed nobody's gone over there because nobody has a Kick account. We are on Kick now.
You're kicking.
Yeah, so Valtteri Bottas still there. Did anybody see Valtteri at all
No.
during testing? No.
No.
I didn't know.
No. Okay, there we go. So that's Kick for you. Okay. I don't know what to say either. Do you want to put up the thing you were sharing a little while ago?
Yes. So
We're just going to quickly go through the races,
yeah,
and
all
we'll just have a
those.
quick look at the calendar because it's going to be a long year, people. A very long year. I know that. Although we have some exciting street circuits, mostly street circuits.
So, there you go.
And we've got some amazing other stuff. Okay, is that
When do I get to talk about? When do I get to talk about Le Sergeant?
So
Oh yeah, you will.
fu-
He's also
fuck
here.
Sergeant. You know, I talk about Sergeant. You know, fuck that guy. Anyway, so we'll find a way to put it. You know, probably in the comments or whatever. You know.
Oh,
So this is
Yeah, go ahead.
it's the calendar for Formula One, MotoGP, and Superbike for this
How did he
year.
manage to get the superbikes in there? Oh, I specifically said. No, I didn't actually, because obviously I'm watching superbikes this year.
I mean, I got a fantastic picture about it. The Superbike started the championship last weekend in Australia, in Phillip Island.
Yeah.
Fantastic races.
Okay, this is going to be over an hour long now because you started.
No. I just super brief. I'm not going to talk about the races because they were amazing. There were problems with the Superbike because they.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm going to say. So if you guys haven't catched it, just look at race 2 because there were 2 overtakes that I've never seen in my life, especially in Phillip Island. They were beyond me, like fantastic races. They had an issue because they redid the tarmac, the asphalt, and it was too aggressive for the tires. So basically, what they did, they decided to split the race with a mandatory stop. So the drivers had to change bike because the tire wouldn't last more than 10, 11 laps. About that, if you let me, I just want to show a quick picture of the tire. I think it was Petrucci. Just hold on a second. Be super brief. And just to say, okay, this is the tire of Danilo Petrucci at the end of, I think, 11 laps in Phillip Island.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's at the end of the race, 11 laps at Phillip
Just
Island.
to say context of what we're looking at, that's the edge of a race tire.
Yes, that's
totally
the edge
destroyed.
of the rear race tire of I think it was Petrucci's Ducati Superbike,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I mean it's literally missing chunks, the pieces missing from the tire.
Wow.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Yep. Well, that's something to definitely watch out for.
Yes.
We're also just going to just do this quickly. There we go. So we've got, there it is, Bahrain. Next, this weekend coming, as we say, then Saudi Arabia, Australia, Japan, China. China back on the calendar. I'm so glad about that. China is one of the really great circuits in Formula One. I feel, and not as good as Malaysia, but still a pretty damn good circuit. Apart from the Mickey Mouse turn 3 and 4, it's really a wonderful circuit. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, Australia, obviously Japan. We love Japan. Having that early is going to be good fun. So there's that.
Yeah.
Then United States from Miami. Oh God. Italy. Yes, the Premio
Yes.
dell'Emilia Romagna.
Yeah.
Fantastic Imola circuit.
Yeah.
Really happy to be back there again. Short circuit always provides good racing though. Monaco.
Real circuit.
Okay, whatever. Canada. So that will be the home of Le Stroll, which is fantastic. A really very difficult circuit, mainly because of the weather and the texture of the circuit itself. Spain. I can't believe we're going back to Spain again. Hopefully the rain in Spain will be mainly on the plain, and in which case we should get a dry and a very fast race there. Of course, they've corrected the last corner now, so we're all happy about that. I can hear the agreement for everybody when I say these things.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We are happy about that. That's
Full
nice.
Harbour Bridge.
Austria, Jawohl, so the Red Bull circuit. Okay, well, it is a very fast circuit, very quick lap, so it goes by quickly. That's the best I could say about that one. And there's usually quite a lot of overtaking, so that's good. Great Britain. Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's not. We've got a king now. Beg your pardon.
Yeah.
So we've got Great Britain, obviously a fantastic circuit. Really looking forward to that one. Hungary, a short go-kart track. For these cars, it's even shorter and even more of a go-kart.
Yeah.
Hungary is at the moment undergoing some serious renovations to the pit area.
I believe
making
so.
it more.
Can I just point out one thing? It seems to be we have a lot of good track, shit track, good track, shit track, good track, shit track. I mean, it started from Imola and then Monaco, then Canada, Spain, and then Austria, which it's shit, and then Silverstone, and then Hungary is shit, and then Spa, which is good. Then the Netherlands, which is shit.
Hang on a minute.
Let
me just go back a minute. Then Spa, which is great. Netherlands, shit.
Yeah, shit.
Monza,
great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah, okay.
Singapore, we like Singapore as it turns out. Oh, and then United States Grand Prix.
Yeah, we got two goods.
That's quite a good one.
Yeah.
Mexico.
Nah.
Brazil.
It's
It can be
I like
exciting.
Brazil.
It can be exciting.
United States, Miami. Not Miami, Las Vegas, I beg your pardon.
No, Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean,
it was good last year, but maybe only because of the fact the track was new. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll probably... it may be good.
It's got to be different. Yeah.
A more streamlined time round.
Always looks interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember that year when they went round the top and they cut out all of the twiddly little bits?
Yeah.
George Russell did very well, I believe, because Valtteri Bottas was injured or something. That was the beginning of George Russell, actually. And then Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi's good.
Abu Dhabi. Okay. So that's the 24 rounds. As Fabio just noticed, we've got shit good through most of it. So 12 of the races I think we're going to really enjoy. The others could be just dependent upon weather and conditions otherwise. Hopefully. Say again.
Where's Spa this year?
Spa. We did go through Spa.
When's it?
They're around 14.
14, got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Rolex Belgian Grand Prix.
You have to have Spa. Mandatory.
That isn't some kind of weird porn site. That's a watch for those. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. So there we go. That's pretty much what we've got to look forward to. That, of course, Bahrain. We'll be coming at you on Sunday.
No,
Race
on Saturday.
on Saturday. What?
Yeah.
Why? Why Saturday?
I don't know. There is on Saturday, I think.
Are they all on Saturday? Have I missed something?
No. I think Bahrain is on Saturday.
Probably not.
Oh yeah, no, Bahrain. You're right. Bahrain is on Saturday. That's what it
Yeah.
says. Look, race Saturday, 6 o'clock local time. Don't know what time that is here. Well,
No,
there we go.
it's 4 p.m. should be.
Okay, in your time.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
It is 4 p.m. your time. Okay, so it's 3 p.m. UK time. The proper time is 3 p.m.
Oh, shit.
So there's that as well. Okay, so we will look forward to seeing you next Monday at 9 o'clock. Thank you very much, everybody. Dave, thank you very much for coming in. Let me just put that up. I'll get rid of that now.
Surely we can't end the show without talking about the big Hamilton news.
Before we do, let me just go through a couple of things. Dave says hi. Hi, Captain Dave. Captain
Dave.
Best. And also, we've got Saturday.
Bob.
Because Saudi Arabia is starting fasting. So we have the reason. Without Bub,
right.
where would we be without Bub Elvis?
The Muslim.
Guys,
I don't know.
where would we be?
I don't know. I'd probably be at home.
Well, I think we are at home.
Yeah, right.
Bob says, looking forward to a new season with Fabio, Simons and Lucky. Thank you so much, Bob. Please make sure you're there. Please make sure you give us plenty of input. Because the show just isn't the same without you, buddy. It really isn't.
Yeah,
Bubby. You see what I did there? Okay, so what would you like to end the show on there, Lucky? Sorry.
Well, I thought we had to mention the big, huge transfer news. Mr. Hamilton.
I'm sure we will. Sorry, I have to interrupt you one more time.
Okay.
If you've got anything you'd like to just say about testing or anything like that, put it in chat now, and then I'll cover it right at the very end. Go ahead. Sorry. Big transfer news.
The big transfer news.
Ronaldo's driving for who?
So, is this a prudent move? In my opinion, Ferrari are making a big mistake. What do you think?
Well, why do you think they're making a big mistake?
Because whiners never do well at Ferrari, and Hamilton's a whiner.
You're not wrong there. Fabio would probably agree with you about the whining part.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Ferrari has had whining, world champions, Alonso. Yeah. So
we both went to the same place.
There'd be nothing new. No, I think it's a fantastic move. It's a fantastic move for everybody. So, okay, just think about it. Okay, if they've made a good car. So those are the scenarios. Okay. The car is shit, so nobody can really point the finger, and that's it. Keep in mind that Hamilton has got a huge amount of money to move there, like a massive amount of money. So that's already a win in his pockets. If the car is good, you could either have Hamilton winning his 8th championship with Ferrari.
Yeah.
Hey, fantastic for him, for Ferrari, everybody's happy. If Hamilton doesn't win, Leclerc wins his first championship. Yahoo! Again, good job. Fantastic. So I think it's a win-win situation for everybody, honestly.
Yeah. I agree. Also, if Hamilton wins his 8th there, he's done it beating Leclerc, which will be something special because, as we know, Leclerc is no slouch on his qualifying.
Well, I mean, to be totally fair, let's take things a little bit, less trivial. It is not a secret that Hamilton has always, well, I would say wanted to go for Ferrari, but he's never been shy about his desire to eventually drive for Ferrari, even in previous years.
Yeah,
He
very
had
much
a
so.
huge respect. I mean, Schumacher drove for Ferrari, again, big idol of Lewis. Vettel, went to Ferrari and didn't win, so that would be even, better for him. So it would show that, yeah, I'm even better than that guy. And if he doesn't, say, well, look at what Vettel did. I wasn't able to do it because the car is shit, but, fuck, already have 7 world championships. So, I mean, again, he really have nothing to lose. And it's a good place, to end his career. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's nothing to lose.
Well,
I mean, his relationship with Mercedes would have been stitched on for life as a Mercedes man, and presumably they never would have fired him as an ambassador. But like Mansell did, right? Mansell took the step and went for Ferrari, and got paid incredibly well out of it, and had a huge amount of cachet. And I think
that
that's one thing that British drivers get for driving for Ferrari.
I mean,
Well,
that is not a door which is completely closed. I mean, see
No,
what Lauda did, what Schumacher did.
yeah,
They eventually got back to Mercedes. I mean, Lauda went back to Mercedes in quality
yeah,
of
they
consult.
were
So
German though. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, but
you know,
again, it's not a totally closed door for
no,
him.
no, it's not a closed door, absolutely not, and especially with that many world titles, I'm sure
Yeah,
they would say.
right.
I'm sure they would say yes. It just puts a little bit of a dullness on the kind of whole process. Oh yeah, that guy that ended by leaving Mercedes right at the end, just
I
when they
think
were about to get back on the train, and they really needed him, because they only had George Russell.
I think he was really unhappy with Mercedes in the last 2 or 3 years.
Last
They
year especially, yeah.
Yeah, but even the year before, I think they either, I think that he felt that they stopped listening to him,
yes,
and I mean, there
what
was
he's been
some,
saying.
yeah, there was some things that he said even with the car last year. Said, well, it's not going to work, and they said, oh, what you mean it's not going to work, and then the car didn't work, and they said, yeah, you were right. So really,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, fair enough. So
yeah, yeah.
so I think that they want, yeah,
That's what you pay your designer for, though, isn't it? To come up with the design,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
pay your driver to drive it. So, like that tension within the team, the designer won out. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And he was wrong, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, presumably Lewis felt, look, you didn't take my word over it. I'm the guy in the car. You took the
Right.
designer's word
Yeah.
over it, and he's got, he's biased. So there we go.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it was expected, his voice to be listened a little bit more because of the history that he had
yeah,
with Mercedes, which, by the way, changing team would be a good thing even for him,
yeah,
because, I'm sure there will be people listening to him, way more than they do in Mercedes. Apparently, they do in Mercedes right now.
yeah,
But on the other end, it will have to learn, some different,
okay,
methodologies of work. So it will have to listen to them. So I think it's a good thing for him too.
yeah.
It's a
I know, I think it is, but like just to go back to the Mercedes thing, I think it seems to be quite a last minute decision almost. So I think he was like yeah, okay, I'll stay with Mercedes because they've changed it this year. They've listened to what I've said. Finally, they've changed it. Okay, that's great. But unfortunately, there was other things which they didn't want to do, like give him an extra year on his contract that he asked for. They wanted a 1 year plus one. He wanted a 2 years plus one. Why on earth they made that decision, I have no idea. But more so, he wanted some more ambassadorship kind of details worked out, like some of his causes supported, which I don't think Mercedes was so happy to go along with this year. So there was other things there, other commitments that Mercedes would have had to make to keep him. And presumably Ferrari made those
yeah.
contractual agreements to support Hamilton in some of his shall we say, off-piste causes, which did surprise me. Okay, anything you want to add there quickly? Because I'm just about to go through Bub's comments.
No, I mean, there's only one thing. Apparently John Elkann really went after the guy in a massive way in even last year. It was
Yeah.
it was a constant pressure, and I think from a human point of view, I understand Hamilton's. If you're so tougher after, it's something that it might make you want to switch. Yeah. So anyway.
And of course, he has a history with Vasseur as well from
Yeah.
the
Yes.
Formula 3
Yes.
days. Yeah.
Yes.
And anything you want to say, Lucky, there before we go through these comments?
Two things. It would be interesting for him to win three titles with three different teams. That would be quite an achievement. The other thing I think we should mention about the cars that I forgot to mention earlier is there's now some driver cooling that's been adopted by all the teams due to the heat problems that some of the drivers were faced with last year. In fact, they all were at one round. I can't remember where how it was.
Singapore.
However, was it Singapore? They all suffered badly, especially Logan. He was taken to the hospital. They've all adopted a way of cooling the drivers, which is a good step in making the cars more drivable.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that's another feature to watch this year, which is Le Reportage Le Logan Sargent.
Oui.
So tune in for that. Okay, over to Ferrari and Hamilton will not mix well. I predict he will not do a full season at Ferrari.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Bob.
Whoa.
Okay. I mean, you might be right. There seems to be, you might be right because Hamilton is a difficult one if the car's not right. If the car's not right, you may well be right. It's rumored that the Ferrari 2026 engine is the most advanced engine so far that anybody has, and it's rumored that it's going to be a real cracker. So, if that's the case, we're in for a good season in 2026. Let's hope so for that. And then he says, I watched that movie about Ferrari, Fabio.
Yeah.
We did as well, did we not? It was nice until it shocked me with that horrific accident. Made me think if Lucky was the director of that movie. Lucky, were you the director of that movie?
Well, there's rumors. I'm admitting to nothing.
Yeah. That's funny because we do remember. I did cut it out, by the way, as you know, Bob. I did cut it out of the final thing. If you were to go back and rewatch that, you were one of the few people to see it. Hello, Geo Sam. Thank you for coming by. Bob says hello, Geo Sam. You was late as well. Hey there, Bob. I didn't have internet all morning. Just got it back. Well, just in time. Sorry you didn't have internet. It's horrible not having internet, isn't it? When it goes these days. Oh, it's like somebody's taken the needle out of my arm. But anyway, there we go. That is the curse of the Monday. Okay, just to go back over some of the highlights of the show quickly. We're on Kick now, everybody. If you have a Kick account, or you intend to get a Kick account, I don't know, please come and sub to us so we can get up to the required number of subs. That would be very helpful. And
is it not Kick without us?
You can watch us there. Go ahead, sorry.
Is it not Kick without a C? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, I mean, it's written on the car, if you can see.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm surprised they didn't. Like do it with an exclamation mark as the I, like the modern kids, like the kids do. Because of course, they've fucking forgotten how to spell. Anyway, on that bit of debauchery, I think we're going to end it there. So next Monday, 9:00, is of course the first thing. Let's just see. Fabio said, "What's Kick?" See, that Geo. He says hi, everybody. By the way, Kick is what the kids are watching, and so you have to be with it, Geo, like we are. We are all highly technically with it, people. And is it a cream-filled pasty? Are you talking about my wife?
Wow.
I don't know. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
What the
Look.
fucking bullshit?
what? What? I'm just saying.
We went from one level. We went from sort of one level to plumbing the depths in one swoop.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's maybe. I have a better joke than that. Did you hear about the two prostitutes